Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's your guy Coldfire. Today I am reacting to Madonna's 9th studio album, American Life. And the 9th track on this album is called Mother and Father. This one I do recognize only for the fact that I went to her celebration tour with my husband. Believe it or not, we paid $8,000 or $9,000 to be up close in front because the previous year, the week after my birthday, I was having a lot of GERD issues, and I woke up with a lot of chest pain around 2 o'clock in the morning, and I thought it was GERD, but it just started getting so bad. And I didn't want to wake my husband up because he had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and work a 12-hour shift. So I was just walking around hoping that I could just ease the pain because they said the GERD can mimic a heart attack. But I wasn't thinking heart attack at the time. I was thinking it was the GERD. But it was 3 days before I was supposed to have my GERD surgery. So, for some miraculous reason, my husband sleeps like a brick. Nothing can wake him up once he's asleep. But he woke up. Something told him to wake up, and I was at the foot of the bed, and he said that when I was talking to him, that I was, telling him that I had pain in the chest, but he could not understand a word I was saying, even though I thought I was talking perfectly normal. But then my arms started drooping down and everything, and he jumped up, and we took off to the hospital, and got there, and I got out of the car and I walked into the hospital. They took my blood pressure. It was 200 something over 198 or something like that. And so they took me into this room, and I was just very calm, but I still had the chest pain. And all these nurses started gathering around me because I was like, oh, it's just GERD, So, the cardiologist, I didn't know at the time, but this big guy, tall guy, come walking in the door, and he's like, you just had a massive heart attack. You're 98% blocked. We have to get you in surgery now. And I was just like, do what? And I don't know, because they tried to run an IV on me, and my veins kept popping, so it was like 12 times, and they finally had to bring an ultrasound in to find a vein. But I really wasn't scared for some reason after they told me that, and that kind of baffled me because of so many problems that I have been going through as a disabled veteran. I don't know. But whenever I did recover and everything, and a few minutes later it was announced that she was going on tour, my husband, bought us the tickets to go to her concert in Atlanta. And then of course she got sick with sepsis and had to postpone it, so it was later that end of that year before we were able to go. But yeah, even with my nitroglycerin in my little backpack, I was still scared when she came out and she was only like 5 feet away from me. I was just like, I couldn't even speak because I was like, this isn't happening. This is a dream. I'm sitting in front of one of the biggest artists that's alive right now. My muse, the woman who actually saved me when I was 16 and tried to take my life because I didn't know who I was. And then I heard her on the TV saying she was going to support gay people and all that. And I looked and saw the TV where she was going on the Blind Ambition tour. And I was like, oh my God. So I put down what I was going to use, and I went and told my mother and father. And they said, well, we knew since you were 5. We accepted it. We love you. So that's why she was always and always will be my favorite artist in that aspect. But enough about that. But anyways, this song was played at the Celebration tour. And I remember she was singing to a picture, I think, of her mother. And then her oldest adopted son, David, was singing. I couldn't see the screen, but he was singing to someone too, but playing the guitar. So I remember this song now. But I want to hear the studio version of it, okay? So let's go. Yeah, this is the one I heard.
There was a time I was happy in my life. There was a time I believed I'd live forever. There was a time that I prayed to Jesus Christ. There was a time I had a mother, it was nice. Nobody else would ever take the place of you. Nobody else could do the things that you could do. No one else, I guess, could hurt me like you did. I didn't understand, I was just a kid. Oh, mother, why aren't you here with me? No one else saw the things that you could see. I'm trying hard to dry my tears. Yes, Father, you know I'm not so free. I got to give it up, find someone to love me. I got to let it go, find someone that I can care for. I got to give it up, find someone to love me. I got to let it go, find someone that I can care for. There was a time I was happy in my life. There was a time I believed I'd live forever. There was a time that I prayed to Jesus Christ. There was a time I had a mother, it was nice. Oh, mother, why aren't you here with me? No one else saw the things that you could see. I'm trying hard to dry my tears. Yes, Father, you know I'm not so free. I got to give it up, find someone to love me. I got to let it go, find someone that I can care for. I got to give it up, find someone to love me. I got to let it go, find someone that I can care for. My mother died when I was 5, and all I did was sit and cry. I cried and cried and cried all day until the neighbors went away. They couldn't take my loneliness, I couldn't take the phoniness. My father had to go to work, I used to think he was a jerk. I didn't know his heart was broken, not another word was spoken. He became a shadow of the father I was dreaming of. I made a vow that I would never need another person, never turn my heart into a cage, a victim of a kind of rage.
Whoa. Hold on. I gotta hear that part.
Turn my heart into a cage, a victim of a kind of rage. I made a vow that I would never need another person, never turn my heart into a cage, a victim of a kind of rage.
Whoa, that's a powerful statement.
I got to give it up, I got to give it up, find someone to love me. I got to let it go, find someone that I can care for. I got to give it up, find someone to love me. I got to let it go, find someone that I can care for. Find someone that I can care for. Find someone that I can care for. I got to give it up, 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 I got to let it go, I got to give it up. Oh, mother, oh, father, I
Hold on. Stop. This computer. Well, hearing the studio version was much different than hearing the one at the Celebration tour, because when you're in a crowd and everything, it took on a different meaning. But this was a little bit of emotion in there. I almost kind of lost it for a moment there, because this is about her life. How her whole life, that she always felt crippled and abandoned because her mother died when she was 5, and she didn't understand why. And it was that one part that summed it up, basically saying, she said, never put my heart into a victim of a kind of... She's not going to cage herself and become a victim because of things that have happened to her in her life. So she's going to embrace those things as a part of life and carry on. But she also needs to find someone to love her that same way that when she replaces that loss, that person can provide to her. And yes, a very powerful song. And also do remember her saying that when you're 5 years old, you don't understand stuff like that. And then if you think about it, Madonna was the oldest daughter, so she was basically had to take care of all the other siblings. I think that she only had 2 other brothers that were older than her, I think. I can't remember. But she was in charge of taking care of it. But in less than 3 years, he married their housekeeper. Sounds like that was either he was so lonely that he needed that. I guess in Catholicism, I'm not too familiar with Catholicism, but I think that because he was such a traditional Catholic, I think that don't you have to... I know that divorce, you're supposed to be... You can't get a divorce in the Catholic religion, or you're banished to hell forever, no matter what the circumstances are, till death do you part. But at the same time, I want to ask the question, if anybody out there is Catholic and knows this: if the father is married and he loses the wife, is he supposed to remarry as soon as possible in the religious aspect of, or is that just something that was just rumored? Because it was also speculated that he married her for to show that a stable household, so to speak, like a traditional family, mother, father, kids. So was he pressured into marrying her and then loved her, or was he in love with her already, and whenever the mother passed away, she was basically the surrogate out of grief? That can happen a lot, because a lot of times when someone loses their love of their life, they say that it's easier for them to fall back in love because they try to replace that grief that they lost. But as far as in Madonna's circumstance, she wasn't allowed to do that because she was so young. Her primary goal was to go through difficult times with her father and rebel against his traditional values, so to speak. But that was Mother and Father, the 9th track off of Madonna's 9th studio album, American Life. And I hope that you enjoyed that video reaction. Powerful and moving. And I hope to see you on the next video reaction. And from here in the US to wherever you are in the world, I love you guys. Stay safe. Love one another. Just be good to each other. Bye-bye.